Today on the Topic Show, taxpayer-funded group in Oregon is giving $30,000 to new homebuyers if they're not American citizens. Stabbings at a diversity event in Germany go viral. Biden says that he will cancel student debt again, somehow. School history classroom has every pride flag, but not a single USA flag. Hyundai Ioniq5 wins EV Car of the Year. Cava stock skyrockets. Crayola trademarks their crayon smell. And Halliburton cyberattack causes some shutdown. All of that and much more on the Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of the Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, you see, that's a joke. If you're an IT leader or business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, still trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part of the podcast, you have the Hyundai Ioniq5. Well, it wins EV Car of the Year, which, interestingly enough, is not Tesla for once. Now, this comes to us thanks to CBS News, specifically Megan Crayola, who's right over there. They quote, "This car is just named EV Car of the Year by Car and Driver." There you can pull up there. There you see, which it is visually appealing. I'll give them that. Now, they say, quote, "The 2025 Hyundai Ioniq5 N is this year's top EV according to Car and Driver. An annual comparison, new or significantly updated EV vehicles at, geez Louise, $67,475 is pricier than some other models that Car and Driver tested. They evaluated 18 actually of their EVs, judging them based on their value, driving experience, use of cutting-edge technology, and other features prized by consumers. It was a winning automobile using technology, or new or novel, in a way to advance the species. Although, if I were a judge, I would say 0 out of 10 because it only has 2 pedals. AKA, there's not a manual transmission in this vehicle, and it's an EV, so... But, granted, I'm not the judge of this particular contest. Now, they say, quote, "This is the 3rd time in a row that the publication named the Hyundai EV the best of the year. Last year's Ioniq6 earned the accolade. The Ioniq5 was last named EV of the year in 2022. In 2021, the first year Car and Driver compared EV models, the Ford Mustang E-Mach received the top honor." What the heck? I'm not saying that people working at Car and Driver are inebriated, necessarily, but... And in the Ford Mustang Mach-E? What? I've seen those on the outside and the inside. I don't know anyone who would give them positive accolades or being the best. I don't know about that. Now, looks like someone at Money Watch says, quote, "There's been a bunch of features that allow it to mimic a gas car as a shift mode that imitates having a 8-speed transmission, while most EVs only have 1 speed and you accelerate endlessly," which I guess I shouldn't be too surprised Hyundai is doing so well. I mean, business-wise, they're doing great when it comes to EVs. They are the biggest company nobody talks about, and their stock has almost doubled in the past year, or even better. Again, not financial advice, but they're doing great. And I hate to admit it, but I have some gearhead friends who they actually bought these, and one of them they're leasing them. Now, leases on these are really good, and I did get to drive one of these. It was a fun, interesting experience. Granted, I'll never have, I mean, you know me, it's not a stick shift or a gas engine, so I'll never want it myself to personally own. I consider it a fun novelty, and at the rate at which these are being leased, it's a pretty compelling reason to lease it if that's the way you want to go. Because again, then you don't have to worry about the big elephant in the room, which is the battery replacement, where years down the road, the battery's going to cost, what is it, half to 2/3 to even more than the total car's value, if they even make the battery at that point to replace it with. Now, they say that, quote, "Another virtue of the Ioniq5 is the fast charging. It can charge from 10 to 90% in about 35 minutes. Although, you know what's better than 35 minutes to charge? Less than 3.5 minutes to fill my Honda Civic Si with a stick shift." But I partially digress. They say that, while driving at a speed of 75 miles per hour on the highway, its range was 190 miles, fully charged with standard battery, according to the test, landing it in the lower ranges of the EV platform, EV spectrum. So, and I give it Hyundai accolades here. It looks aggressive and like a cool, angular vehicle. And Hyundai makes some cool stuff, don't get me wrong. I'm impressed that it won this category. Again, hindsight's always 2020 when it comes to investing, which I bought this like years ago. But Yeah, I wonder what the break-even point is, or when they'll start to make profits on the EVs. Again, one of the largest battery manufacturers for the EV community is Hyundai Kia, same company, very similar to how Toyota owns Lexus or Honda owns Acura. So kudos to Hyundai to continue to knock out the park. Hilariously enough, I joke and say that I represent 1% of marketing spend by Hyundai because every other commercial I watch on a streaming platform is of a Hyundai vehicle. Because again, my friends bought them and I say nice things about them, even though again, maybe I'll say this with the magical algorithm. I do not desire to ever own one, although I appreciate the technology and what it does. Which I'm actually fascinated Honda doesn't blast me for the new Civic Si, which cool, but it also has four doors, and I prefer my little green Honda Coupe Gen 10. But I partially digress. Out of curiosity, in terms of the EV community, did you realize how much Hyundai has come along? Did you realize they're one of the top players out there, and they're actually putting out these types of fun vehicles? Let me know in the comments because, as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news: you have Cava stock skyrocketing, even doing better than Chipotle, which, in terms of anecdotal experience, I loved and hate Cava. They bought out one of my favorite restaurants in the past couple of years, which is Zoe's Kitchen, famously headquartered. Well, I would know because it's a good old Texas-based company. They used to be based in good old Plano, Texas, just down the street, and they have some great salmon kebabs. Unfortunately, those have been going away as they replace them with the branding and the menu of Cava, because Cava is the new parent company behind it. I think they bought them out about 4 to 5 years ago, but it's basically pseudo fast food but Mediterranean, and not as fast as McDonald's or anything, but relatively fast, moderately priced food. Now, this comes with thanks to the OG original search engine, which somehow still exists. Good old Yahoo, in this case, finance, which might show my age a little bit. Back in my day, Yahoo was a big thing. And you actually valued it. Microsoft offered to. Well, I'll keep the ADHD down. I swear, I'll try. But I'll never forget. Microsoft offered to buy Yahoo for like $40-something billion. Yahoo declined, and then years later they sold to, I believe, Verizon for $4 billion. Great example of knowing the timing is half of everything in life. Also, why I don't give financial advice. Here they say, quote, this is from Brooke DePalma, who's a writer over there. And they say, quote, Cava reports juicy earnings as stake launch sales growth pushes stock to all-time high. Even get a stock chart. Jeez Louise. $122 per share. Hindsight's always 2020 when it comes to investing and many things in life, truth be told. Now they say, quote, net sales jumped 35.2% year over year to 233.5 million compared to the expectation of 219 million, which again, one of the best ways to boost that stock is to knock the stocks off all the analysts and the expectations that they have. Adjusted earnings per share came in at 17 cents per share versus the 13 cents that was expected. Same store sales jumped 14.4%, more than the 7.45% Wall Street expected. Sales growth was driven by higher foot traffic, up 9.5% year over year, which is phenomenal. Again, one of the most difficult things when it comes to the traditional retail establishment or retail, brick and mortar, is what's that compelling reason to get people to actually go to your store or go to your restaurant and have them to exchange their dollars for products and or services, which is amazing. Now, they say they also have, this also contributed that they had increases in menu prices, new locations, as well as the launch of a grilled steak on June 3rd earlier this year. Jeez. They said it hit a record stock price of $102, and then it skyrocketed up to $122 over the last week, making it one of the biggest jumps ever. The steak launch surpassed expectations by a landslide. CEO Brett Schulman told Yahoo Finance the team is, quote, working on a deep pipeline of innovation for the next few years. Schulman said the company's, quote, value proposition is drawing diners as consumers trade from fine dining restaurants but trade up from fast food, which that category is growing. Because again, I mean, there are a myriad of issues that have destroyed McDonald's, including the government putting their getting involved too much in the private sector. You got California raising minimum wage laws for that, and overregulation. And again, now McDonald's is so expensive; it's prohibitively expensive. The whole value prop of McDonald's is gone. I mean, it used to be fast, cheap, and convenient. It's now, I mean, none of those things. Especially if you want ice cream, I'm pretty sure you have to wait 3 weeks in order to get the ice cream. You have to place a deposit when you go to the cashier. Say, hey, I want to pick this up in 3 weeks. Can you prepare for that? And by then, half the time, the machine is fixed. I'm only partially kidding. Now, they say that, quote, the company raised its full-year outlook to sales growth of 8.5% to 9.5%, reflection of the strength we continue to see in business expectations. And here you can see their sales bouncing back. Which again, of all times, I'm pretty impressed because again, for most businesses, 2024 is a very challenging year, unprecedented economic and political uncertainty, and it's fascinating to see since my tech company works with, well, we work primarily with businesses, usually medium and large businesses, and their businesses are drawing, at least we're seeing them decrease their investments in many areas of the business, even more so than 2020, which again, every election, no matter who's running, there usually is a little contraction when it comes to business operations expenses. Now, there you can see the chart says Cava rebound to strong sales growth in Q2. And geez Louise, yeah. They say, I mean, that's insane. I mean, Q1, 2.3%, Q2, 14.4%. That's the foot traffic. That's insanely good. Your chief marketing officer and the restaurant menu architect, I mean, they're going to get some nice accolades. I don't know, might even get poached by a competitor company. Who knows? Now, they say that shares, oh, geez, again, don't buy, not financial advice. Shares are up 180% year to date. Wow, compared to 20% for Chipotle and 18% for the S&P 500, which, yeah, I would have never thought this would be doing so good. They also note that in Q2, Cava opened 18 new locations, bringing the total to 341 restaurants. And they plan to keep on growing and doing well. And jeez Louise, that is, wow. They say that by 2032, rather, the company plans to have 1,000 Cava locations, which, again, phenomenal news for Cava. I mean, that's going to be able to help them feel that growth. And again, traditionally speaking, things should start to pick up Q4 fiscal calendar year for most businesses and most people, because again, it's a ripple effect. And I can only imagine, again, not financial advice, but how great they're going to be doing when it comes to Q4 sales and selling more Mediterranean dishes. And interesting enough, let me know in the comments. Have you ever heard of this up-and-coming restaurant? Have you ever been to a Zoe's Kitchen or before? Let me know in the comments. As always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news, you have Crayola successfully trademarked the Crayon scent after previously being denied, which I was going to say, of all the things to patent and get a trademark on them actually specifically, pretty good idea. Makes sense because, again, who doesn't remember the old crayon smell when you were a kid? I mean, there's just some timeless smells you don't forget. Now this comes to us thanks to golfnews.com. And they say specifically, quote, Crayola trademarks the smell of its crayons. The scent is, quote, a slightly earthy soap and pungent leather-like clay undertones. Which, yeah, for a second there, I can almost smell it myself. There you see the cliche crayon boxes there. They say, let's say, quote, you may find yourself smelling crayons in the aisles of the store soon if Crayola's chief executive officer, Pete Ruggiero, gets his way. In July, the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office issued a patent to the arts and crafts giant for the smell of crayons, the waxy scent of a childhood spent trying to color within the lines, or more accurately, failing at that, as I usually did. Say, while it was too soon for this back-to-school season, Ruggiero imagines one day bumping through the aisle of retailers, triggering nostalgia while shoppers are browsing and hopefully buying more crayons. That would be an interesting business idea. That'd be a good way to, yeah, if you ever want to get to the science of shopping, one of the most fascinating things is casinos. They are one of the best examples of the use of fragrance technologies where every casino will have their own patented or trademarked scent. And you see this in other industries as well. It makes sense for, like Bath and Body Works has one, areas that you kind of associate more with like perfumes. That makes sense. But in this regard, that'd be a pretty unique experience. I'm not sure how the distribution methodology would work in terms of having like an aerosol spray in like a Walmart. And then, of course, you have to worry about the legal ramifications or how that would work in terms of, I mean, not spraying it on people, it's just in the air. That would be interesting. Now, they say Crayola, a unit of Hallmark, first applied for patent in 2018 and was initially turned down less than a year later, but it won its bid on appeal. During the process, the company shared examples of its own crayons as well as competitors to verify distinctiveness. According to the trademark documents, they say, yeah, the leather-like clay undertones. Now, I'm actually pretty fascinated by the breakdown of their sales pipeline or the sales. It says, quote, Crayola sells 30% of the products online at places like Amazon.com, with the other 70% coming from brick-and-mortar retailers like Walmart, Target, and Staples, which I know, interestingly enough, it seems like everyone thinks e-commerce is the future, and it is a huge player, obviously, but it is interesting for certain products, a majority of the sales is still in a brick and mortar retail establishment. Now they say, quote, Crayola ranks #1 in the U.S. sales in the coloring category, which includes colored crayons and pencils, according to Euromonitor, which makes sense. I'm not. I mean, I'm sure there's a discount off brand of Crayola. I mean, even my family had Crayola back in the day. Granted, we weren't like the cool kids with the big box that size like a binder, had like 100-something crayons with a built-in sharpener. That's when you know your parents were really well off and they're probably driving some European car like fancy. Is it just me, or did everyone have that one kid in school where, like, there's one kid who had that big box of crayons with the sharpener built in? That, I mean, really marketing. Everyone wanted that little thing that was built in there, but I partially digress. Rigero, the CEO, says we've been talking about it for years and wanted to do it even more. The Corolla smell is something, there's a connection between the smell and childhood memories, and it's very powerful. Which, again, in terms of all the patents and trademarks I've seen throughout the years, this one makes 110% sense. It'll be interesting, and let me know, can you smell that? Can you imagine or remember that smell right now? And how do you think they'll use that in terms of the application to increase their sales? And do you think they'll have some novelty items where they'll probably turn into like a cologne or a perfume? I remember, what was it, like, even when I was a kid, there's some Sharper Image catalog, there's someone who actually had the perfume in the scent of Play-Doh, which, I mean, it's kind of hilarious and it makes sense. I'm sure they've had a fair amount of sales for that. So, well, I'm not really sure who would buy that, but I'm sure that'd be a fun novelty gift. But leave it in the comments, as always. It would be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the Culture Pod podcast, you have a stabbing at a diversity festival in Germany, allegedly by Arabian. Now, this comes to us over on the X Twitter. Pull that up here, and they say, according from actually the profile name is called European Invasion. It says, breaking now. An Arab immigrant stabbed 9 Germans at a festival in, I'm not trying to butcher this city, but I'll try it, Solingen, Germany? There are only a few German words I know, like, what is it? Porsche. Or Porsche, as some Americans call it. Now, get back to his quote, say, several deaths were reported, a large number of police and helicopters were sent to the area, the criminal escaped. Now this is, not too eventful, so I was going to say one of the few times where you don't have to worry about a visual disturbance in terms of if you have children watching. This kind of just shows you the scene where you got police everywhere. About 23 seconds, not too long. You got some helicopters up in the air. Interesting. Now, I don't know if this got deleted in real time. Interesting. So one of the first comments comes from Steven, says, you know where this doesn't happen? Hungary, Poland. We all know why. Press like if you want to agree, or if you agree if you had enough, getting 335 likes. Yeah, the report says what is happening in Germany, getting 267 likes. Alfie Afrat says mass deportation is needed ASAP, getting 840 likes. Now again, with this, with this current story, we don't see any statistics, or again, I'm not seeing any information in terms of, they say it was a man who did this, and say it was an Arab immigrant allegedly, but we're not, you don't see the faces of the person. You don't know if they're a legal citizen or not. So I'm not sure how this will pan out at the end of the day. And I'm not sure if they were legally a German citizen or not. Let's see here. There's another video. Okay, so okay, so they say early indications point to a suspect of Arab appearance. Huge police operation is beginning underway, getting 61 likes. Let's see here. Citizens West says 21 likes. Oh, sorry. They say mass migration worked exactly as intended, getting 21 likes. Typo there. Well, not typo. Speaking in aptitudes. Again, click that subscribe button. It may very well assist in my speaking improvements. I can't help but notice when I first started the show, barely any followers, barely any likes, barely any subscribers. And I spoke terribly. Believe it or not, spoke even faster, mostly monotone, and stumbled over most of the words. However, as I slowly but surely gain more subscribers and followers, I have slowly but surely increased my speaking acumen. Some might argue it's just a modicum of improvement, but an improvement nevertheless, fueling my theory. if you click that subscribe button. It may very well someday have an entire show where I have perfect speaking abilities. Sure, some might say it's a pipe dream or a tall order, but I believe it can happen. So if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate them. You also have Marvin saying, of course, Arab immigrant was not included in the mainstream media. When does Europe finally wake up? When will it end? Getting 64 likes. Someone does a Star Wars meme or a parody. Skynet blog says, and it's a picture of, was it the Boba Fett guy? Oh yeah, Mandalorian. It says, close the borders, this is the way. Getting 26 likes. So again, very early development. We'll see at the end of the day what the real story is. But a lot of people are talking about it, going viral to say the least. And let me know, do you think there will be a resolution in terms of, will the police actually capture this individual? Will there be any form of justice? But let me know in the comments, because as always, I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting cultural news, you have a school history classroom with every pride flag but no United States flag, which I guess we're not too surprised about what schools are going on with these days. Now, this is brought to us thanks to Libs of TikTok on the good old X Twitter, in which she says, quote, "Parents, you must visit your kids' classrooms to find out what's going on there. You may be shocked by what you see. They aren't simply putting up political flags representing their new religion. They're also removing American flags." And this is a response to a picture compilation or a post that says, quote, "My son's classroom is world history and social studies. No American flag at all, but a ton of BS." Well, BS and BLM. So one of the flags is a giant flag with the rudimentary design that just says BLM, which is just type on a black flag. But you have the BLM flag. You also have the, what is this? The progress flag, but it's not been updated with a circle. Again, whoever's making or manufacturing flags these days is making a killing. If that's a stock, if that's a publicly traded company, again, not financial advice, but geez Louise, their sales are just going to the moon as there's a new design every day. I mean, can't but wonder how much money they're making. They also, again, this is a new flag. I didn't even know about this one. So you had those two. And then in the back, there's the traditional, so they have the traditional pride flag, which is just the straight colored lines, the rainbow one. But then on that same flag, you also have the BLM fist, the outline of the fist in the circle with black background. Yeah, I don't know what the skew is in terms of if you're trying to buy these flags online, how they describe them. That's got to be a tall order to memorize all those SKUs of products. That's a lot, to say the least. And yeah, probably one of the best things to come from the pandemic was parents realizing, oh dear God, they're teaching what to my kids? Because they had Zoom meetings. And now that it's going back to face-to-face, and you don't know what they're teaching the kids. Even more horrifying when some teachers' unions say they don't want to give up the curriculum to the parents. That's the question, what are they hiding? Again, you work for the parents. You work for the taxpayers. I think they forget that. But yeah, yet another reason to be very actively involved if your child is going to a school. Now, again, in this specific specific instance, they're not clarifying if it's a public school or a private school. Again, we've seen such shenanigans in private schools as well. I'm just saying, on average, there's probably a higher. If I were a gambling man, I'm not, but if I were to roll the dice, I would guess this is a public school. It does have those iconic public schools chairs where they got the metal legs and the plastic scoop, which, I mean, talk about saving money on manufacturing. I don't think they've changed the design or materials of those chairs in like 70 years. Good business model. Now, in terms of statistics, it's got 250,000 views as well as 5.1 thousand likes. One of the first comments comes from Libercat Media TM. Says, quote, "Literally this is a cartoon and it has pictures of, well, this cartoon has the trans flag, the BLM flag, the updated progress trans flag. It has the BLM fist. It has that adult toys. It has, what is it? It's a combination of the male symbol and the female female logo, then another arrow. Then it has the teacher, which is a biological man in short blue hair and a dress and heels. And it's pointing to the kid to go outside, and the kid has the flag with the Gadsden, or is a backpack with the Gadsden flag on it. And all the green check marks are above all the pride stuff. Yep, and that got 113 likes because, yeah, that really happened in the real world. Now, the teachers didn't look like that, but there's an instance where a boy had a backpack with the Gadsden flag and they kicked him out of school because of that symbol. Yet they allowed those symbols to stay inside school. Again, shows what their agenda really is. That got 113 likes. Libercat Media Team also says, keep telling your kids. It says no one has to go along with this weird shit. And along with every one of those words is a different flag of pride with there's so many, I don't know what they all mean. Okay, 92 likes though. Also, Zupa says this is patently illegal. The child abuse needs to be treated as prosecuted as such. And Alpha Writing getting 61 likes. Oh yeah, never forget there's a 32-year low for ACT test scores in the United States for kids. 32-year low, and yet teachers' unions say we deserve more money. Some teachers, yes. All of them, I don't know about that. You have, is this on statistics? Here we go. I love statistics. This comes from Craig Chamberlain, who says, quote, says, how are the kids doing on education with the Biden-Harris in charge in America? They scored record low levels for math and reading science. And money for nothing, this little infographic says, quote, even as Democrats have spent more and more on public education, test scores have dropped in recent years, yet Kamala Harris and other liberal leaders oppose school choice and will give parents more options, the competition to spur better education alternatives. Ironically, they say they like choice. They say spending has skyrocketed. So they used to spend $7,576 in 1970. And in 2020, 2021, it's $19,999. Granted, this also inflation. Granted, the government left and right caused that. Now that's an increase of 164%. They say, but the education hasn't improved. Meanwhile, the average scores for reading, mathematics, and the National Assessment of Education Process test are roughly the same as they were 50 years ago, and have dropped in recent decades. And you can see a nice graphs where, yeah, after 2012, they dropped like a rock. Yeah. But they deserve raises, we're told. Do they? I don't think so. Now that got 202 likes. Here. Also have, this is old, my eyes aren't as good as they used to be. Vincent at the PSP podcast says, dude, this whole war on the USA and our social norms is ridiculous. Then they call us Nazis when we push back against it. Sorry, but not. Wanting our kids exposed to this degeneracy that is wokeness isn't fascism. It's wanting to keep your kids healthy and a part of a culture we have here. Got 36 likes. See here. I Love American News says, Trump says he promises to keep woke programs out of schools.
On day one, I will sign a new executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content onto the lives of our children. I will not give one penny to any school that has a vaccine mandate or a mask mandate. I will keep men out of women's sports day one.
Gonna get a lot of those votes in the middle. Getting 66 likes for that. Let's see. Jim Hansen says schools are not supposed to be political indoctrination centers. We must end public school monopoly. The money should follow the child wherever the parents want them to go. Getting 59 likes. Red Wave Press says the only flag hanging in schools should be the American flag, getting 95 likes. 110% agree. The Trump.ai says public school is a joke, getting 26 likes. Let's see here. Any contrarian statements here? Because again, there are some people who do want all those flags in the schools, and they don't want. There are some people who hate the American flag. Is kind of telling of the cultural decay and the political changes in the United States, where if you see an American flag, you kind of know who they're voting for, which is, again, I mean, 20, 30 years ago, everyone loved the American flag. That was a symbol of hope. And it kind of united all of us with all of our morals and values. And now now you have some people saying it doesn't represent them at all. So, not too surprising, yet, what is this reason? 10,958,475,313 reason to homeschool your kids. So, not surprised. And again, let me know, have you seen this on your local level? Is this something that most parents are pushing back, or are they afraid to bring this up during those PTA meetings? Let me know in the comments. As always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the political part of the podcast, you have Biden saying that he will cancel student debt again, somehow, even though it's illegal. Again, that's never stopped him before. Now, this is brought to us straight from Biden's Twitter, or more accurately, one of his interns, because I don't think he knows what X Twitter is or how to use the smartphone or any phone. A friendly reminder: Karine Jean-Pierre pretty sure that's how I pronounce her name, the White House press secretary, has been caught multiple times impersonating Biden on X Twitter by tweeting something in her perspective, and then goes, oh, whoops, then they tried to delete it. But stayed on the internet forever. Now, Biden, more accurately, one of his administrators or one of his interns says, quote, education to oh, geez Louise. Okay, okay, I'll go for it. I got to start with the come on, man. This is kind of his thing. Come on, man. Education should never be a barrier to the opportunity. I'll never stop working to cancel student debt for those who qualify, despite Republicans elected officials' attempts to stop my administration. Unquote. Kind of dipped into a little Bill Clinton there, but nevertheless, the attempt was made. And it went moderately viral, got 346,000 views, but only 7.4 thousand likes, which, fascinatingly enough, this is coming from the person who says he respects the law of the land. The Supreme Court has ruled you can't bribe people, pay off their student loans with other taxpayer dollars. It went all the way, it was a battle, went back and forth, a tennis ball of the courts. It got all the way up to the Supreme Court, and they shot down. No. It's also not fair that apparently there's a carve out, or there's a, I forgot the mechanism they have for the scam. I mean, if you work for the government, then after a certain amount of time, the government will pay it off, which doesn't sound fair to me. But this is one of those things where unless he hacks the Supreme Court or expands it, which historically Biden has been against, not everyone in the DNC is, but Biden's publicly said he was against that in the past. I think he's changed it a little, but the only way you're going to change that is if you stack the Supreme Court or expand it. Because again, right now, very similar to the abortion case, the Supreme Court has already ruled no. I mean, in that case, people on the left are still raising money on that, saying it will matter who's president. It won't. The Supreme Court has ruled on it. Very similar in this case. He keeps promising people, oh yeah, we'll pay it off. No, the courts said you can't. Now, this isn't the first time he ignored the Constitution or the Supreme Court, where he said, he literally said when it was during the lockdowns, where they were, forcing landlords not to charge anything, he said, I know it's unconstitutional, but I'm just going to do it. And it worked through the courts, and yeah, they said it was unconstitutional, they struck it down, but the damage is done. And I don't know what they're going to do in this case to try to bribe more voters, pay off student loans. But yeah, it's morally vacuous to have someone else pay off your loan. And just how to take sacrifice. If you, my 3 cents, used to be 2 cents, but 40-year hyperinflation. You still have student loans, you still live like a student. I haven't taken vacation in years. I'm still working 105 hours a week to pay mine off. But that's just my 3 cents. Some of the top comments comes from Valentina Gomez, saying, quote, you're bribing people with student loan payments and now $25,000 for a new home. You Democrats are desperate. Getting 222 likes. Which, yeah, they have a proposal. Kamala is saying, oh yeah, first-time home buyers will give you $25,000. Yeah, someone doesn't know basic economics, or they're intentionally trying to destroy it. But yeah, that would just increase the cost of goods sold and cause another housing crisis again, like in 2008. Now, Paul Zupa says, quote, there's no such thing as canceling student loan debt. There's only making someone else pay for it. Moreover, SCOTUS said it's unconstitutional, and many courts have now blocked it. Stop trying to buy votes. I got 93 likes. American Papa Bear says, you guys are in trouble today. Gad Sad says, yikes, those greedy and whiny farmers, welders, and police officers should take on a few extra shifts to pay for my underwater lesbian dance degree in Oberlin. Here. I don't know why the UPS trip there. Huh? Still filming. Apologize for that. They quote, it's unfair for me to have to pay for a loan that I took out. Personal agencies for Nazis. I repost. Okay, 1.7 thousand likes. I must be butchering that quote. Let me pull it up really quick here. So Gadsad says, quote, yes, those greedy and whining farmers, welders, and police officers should take on a few extra shifts to pay for my underwater lesbian dance degree in Oberlin. It is unfair for me to have to pay for a loan that I took out. Personal agencies for Nazis. I repost. Getting 1.5 thousand likes. Actually, did it go up that quickly? It did. 1.7 thousand likes. Wow. Very impressive. There's a couple people talking about how RFK endorsed Trump. You also have Jason Robinson saying, quote, your comment should be, quote, the cost of education should never be a barrier to your opportunity. At the same time, making credit easier to obtain and harder to discharge has only made education more expensive while reducing the quality. Yeah? Yeah, as soon as the loans are guaranteed, and there's really not much incentive for schools to decrease the cost. And the product, I would say, is about the same or worse than it has been in the past. mean, my dad worked minimum wage jobs in Michigan, factory jobs back in the day, and he got an MBA, and after that, he was in debt like a couple $100. It wasn't that bad. And even adjusting for inflation, that's nothing compared to now. It's ridiculous how expensive it is. And yeah, I really debate the value of most degrees these days. Not all, but yeah. Let's see here. Just a Dude says, protect the children and vote for Trump with RFK helping. This picture of someone with the jab says, does it provide immunity? Only for the manufacturer. Getting 41 likes. Legally true. Alex Stone says, you stopped working a long time ago, so you can take a nap, but you'll be fired November 5th. Getting 66 likes. Bella says, you've done nothing for 4 years. Getting 55 likes. So yeah, I'm scrolling through. I don't see any positive statements, which is rare because again, people. Usually just free money, people are gonna love that. And so, and don't get me wrong, some people will cheer for this because they understand the ripple effect that it would have, or the moral obligations they have to pay something back that they took out. But yeah, not too surprising. And again, if you're trying to buy votes, a lot of people are struggling with student loans. Especially if you have certain, I know, like the interest rates on some of the private loans, they're almost double digits. It's insane. So I know a lot of people are struggling. A lot of people would love to have their loans magically, wiped away. Is that enough to get them to actually, vote differently? Let me know in the comments. As always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have Oregon taxpayers to go to non-citizens buying their first home. Interesting to see where our tax dollars goes these days. Well, not me, thankfully. I do not live in Oregon, but nevertheless, I feel bad for the people who do live there. This comes to us thanks to Lives at TikTok on the good old X-Twitter, in which she says, quote, taxpayer-funded group in Oregon is offering $30,000 to new home buyers, but only if you're not a U.S. citizen. This is insanity. They literally hate you. This apparently was from a Fox News affiliate for the original video interview. Without too much further ado, looks like it's Fox Business, which fascinatingly enough is still in business. I think I know two people, one person who still watches it. Do you? Do you know anyone? A little ADHD question there.
A taxpayer-funded group is offering $30,000 to new home buyers. Lauren, you cannot apply if you're an American citizen. What's with that?
Why would an American citizen apply for a taxpayer-funded program to get $30,000 for a new home? It's wild. The group is called Hacienda Community Development Corporation. They offer payment assistance in Oregon to DACA recipients, asylees, green card holders, basically any non-U.S. citizen. This is state-sponsored discrimination, Stuart. That's what it is. It's crazy. That's their goal. They want to open up housing and the American dream to non-U.S. citizens.
Okay, I guess that's the reason why that's why we have an open border, because eventually these folks will vote and vote Democrat because they're the people who let them in. That's what this is about.
Part of me wants to say crazy things happen in Oregon, but I think this will go far beyond Oregon. There is a critical shortage of houses across the United States, particularly in Oregon, and then they're giving $30K to non-taxpayers.
Yeah, which will raise the price of houses.
For everybody else.
Yep.
Pathetic. All right, Lauren.
It's also happening in California as well, which, yeah, buying a house right now, that's a struggle. Just the interest rates are heartbreaking these days when I dream and look at Zillow and other websites of someday owning your own home. Yeah, it is ridiculous. And it's, yeah, I can't imagine. $30,000. It went pretty viral, got about 250,000 views as well as 9.9 thousand likes. And one of the first comments comes from Gunther Eagleman, who says, quote, this is a big FU to the taxpayers, getting 263 likes. Planet of Memes did respond in meme form. They're a little overdue. But they say, quote, this might work. And I forget who the original actor was who actually has the meme where he's pointing at his head as African-American man with the gold watch, pointing at his head as if to thinking. And the text on the meme says, quote, retirement plan. 1, give up citizenship. 2, move to Mexico. 3, enter the U.S. illegally. 4, set for life. And 105 likes, which, fact check true. It's fascinating. I have some family in Florida. And yeah, there are instances where you have someone who literally escaped tyranny and became a U.S. citizen property, a lot of Cubans. And yeah, they're getting Social Security like $800, but if you come here illegally, the benefit's like $1,500 plus. So yeah, a lot of people are irate. You worked your whole life, and someone who just came here illegally is getting double the benefits. That's insane. One of the first other comments comes from Paul Zupas and it's, quote, "This is blatantly illegal. Where's the DOJ?" Getting 41 likes. Paratrooper Brady says, quote, "They hate Americans. It's so obvious. Don't vote for people who hate you, idiots." Getting 48 likes. Salty Goat says, "I can't believe the people of Oregon will stand for this," getting 83 likes, which they may be so inebriated by drugs they might not realize this is happening as well. Gotta take that into account. This is a state where they banned plastic straws but legalized small possessions of pretty much all drugs, which shows the priorities of Oregon as well. I believe was it Chopper Chaz in Oregon where they actually had leftist vigilantes shut down streets and take over them, and police just let them do what they want? Yeah. Here. Drefanzor Memes says, quote, "We don't hate these people enough," getting 32 likes. Mike Engelman, says, "Unity Party Republicans probably helped," getting 14 likes, which there are a lot of Republicans in name only, a lot of rhinos out there. Titan Maximus simply has a bumper sticker that says "Your government hates you," getting 13 likes. Old School Eddie says, "Why is our government constantly putting illegals above American citizens? Are they trying to start a war?" Getting 9 likes. I can't help but think they want some friction and they want some conflict because then they could use it as justification to seizing more power. I mean, a lot of things that the government is doing is seemingly almost like poking people, like pushing them to act irrationally. Which again, the most effective way to win hearts and minds is peaceful protest and actually going and getting your representatives out in front of Congress and all that kind of stuff. You know, voting. It doesn't hurt to go to Hobby Lobby and get some nice cardstock too as well. Not an investor or you know, anything like that, just a fan. Now, Farm Girl Carrie says, "We can finally build a wall around Oregon," to gain 9 likes. Yeah, won't be a bad idea. Is in contrary, I'm not seeing a lot of contrarian statements. And again, if this was a private organization or even if it was like a nonprofit not getting any government funding, I think there'd be slightly less controversy. Because again, there are people who come here legally and become U.S. citizens, and they might need some assistance. That's a little bit different. But in this case, we have, I mean, it's a tax-funded payer thing, so you're indirectly paying for this. I think that's one of the reasons there's so much controversy around this. And yeah, it is fascinating to see, like, at the end of the day, how many benefits do actual American taxpayers get? So let me know, do you think this will explode in Oregon's face? Do you think they'll tell us, you know, withhold funding from this nonprofit to decrease the frequency at which this is happening? Or do you think it's a good thing? Let me know in the comments. As always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the business blunder of the day, you have Halliburton cyberattack causing a shutdown, which that's not so good. Now, this comes to us thanks to the good old website by the name of TechCrunch. It was specifically Zach Whitaker, who's a writer over there. And he says, quote, "Halliburton shut down system after cyberattack." There you can see one of the oil rigs on fire, which is one of the dark marks on Halliburton that kind of dented their reputation. And I say, quote, "Oil drilling and fracking giant Halliburton said it will shut down some of its internal systems following a cyber attack last week. In a brief statement filled with government regulations on Thursday last week, Halliburton said it become aware of an unauthorized access to the system and responded by proactively taking certain systems offline. The company said it is, quote, "working with to identify any effects to the incident." Halliburton, which has close to 48,000 employees in dozens of countries per company filings, is one of the world's largest energy companies. The U.S. energy giant is widely associated with the massive oil spill caused by the Deepwater Horizon oil rig explosion in the Gulf of Mexico in 2010, in which Halliburton later agreed to sell to the U.S. government for $1.1 billion. The U.S. Department of Energy spokesperson Jeremy Ortiz said in a statement, "There are no indications that the incident is impacting energy services at this time, and the DOE is coordinating with interagency partners." They say, quote, "It's not uncommon for companies to shut down their systems following a cyber attack with the goal of preventing some intruders from having continued access to breached systems or gaining access to others. Similar companies had incidents this year, including health giant Change Healthcare and automobile software maker CDK, which shut down their systems after the ransomware attack. Is getting much to isolate the incident." Now, the spokesperson said any subsequent communications will be in the form of an 8K referring to public filings, which, that's not great. Oh yeah, this is their earnings are pretty impressive. Halliburton made $23 billion in revenue, not profit, during 2023, up 13% over the year before. Halliburton's CEO Jeff Miller made $19 million in total comp, which not too worried about that. actually seems small relative to the revenue company. Although with this incident, they claim production isn't being interrupted, so that's good. But they're shutting some things down. But yeah, they should know. They already have one of the largest targets on their back, not just from activists, because again, it's an oil company, so some people think it's controversial, but also because it's one of the largest logos on the planet. I mean, it's the largest businesses out there. So again, the bad guys go where the money is. They're going to want, again, actually, the malicious hackers, the unethical hackers, make the delineation. They're going to try to break in there, either cause havoc or some type of monetary, increase in value. And yeah, I'm not sure how much resource allocation Halliburton puts into cybersecurity and actually, locking things down and doing assessments and, actually practicing against threat hunting. I'm not sure what they're doing, but yeah, they should probably be doing a lot more. Now, that being said, it's one of those things where with enough time, resource allocation, you can break into any company, especially if it's a nation state. But yeah, not looking too good to have your name in the headlines associated with a malicious attack. Especially because, again, everyone still has sore memories from another oil company that was hacked a couple years ago where they actually shut the pipeline distribution. They actually had to shut it down for a little bit. Now, thankfully, this isn't that bad. But, yeah, I'm sure the investors aren't going to be happy. And not very good, Halliburton. Gotta say that is certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button, I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, a thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.